Turn that off. Okay. Everything's all good. All right, let's do a game of this while we wait. There we go. All right. Bantamweight? Oh, well. Give me Peter Yan. I'm kind of a Jan Glazer low key. What's going on, realist? Stream just started. Sorry, just give it a few minutes. We'll get it going here. Okay, we'll worry about that here in a sec. Okay. So we get this going, and then we'll watch some stuff here shortly. Just gonna wait for a couple people to get in here. Crap, should have seen that high kick coming. Alright, we're gonna pressure him. Sorry, making the reads. We're doing this the Peter Yan way. Yeah, take me down. Let's see how well this guy can grapple. What? I denied that. I literally denied that transition game. What are we talking about here? Okay, so this guy's gonna be switching stances a lot. So we're gonna have to chop down on his leg. Look at him freaking out. Sidestepping a lot too. What's up, Kimura? Lots of body shots. Yes, throw lots of leg kicks. Slash him with elbows, try to cut him maybe. Flying knee! Boo-boo! We catch him with flying knees out here, baby. Lots of leg kicks, too. Especially if he's going to constantly be switching stances. Okay. Yep. This is too easy for me. Make him work a little bit. Yeah, nope. Give me the stack guard, baby. Damage. Damage him. Come on, we can get him out of here. Okay, nice. He survived. Let's see if he tries to get out of here. No, sir. Dang! Oh, look at that. He just survived by the skin of his teeth. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Oh my gosh, this guy... Okay, he survives. Oh, he rocked me. Oh, we get the drop. We get the drop, baby. Boom! But that was a nice uppercut left hook combination. All right, that was nice. Okay. But that's got to be a 10-8 round for me, right? Ooh. Did you see him go fake left touch into a high kick there? Spinning kick. Boom, boom. Ooh, I tried to catch him leaning. Tried to catch him leaning into that high kick. Come on, bro. What do we think? Do you think I can catch him with a spinning heel kick here, gang? Oh, dang. Oh, dang. Spinning heel kick. Whoopee! Oh. Oh, elbozo. Elbozo. No, I'm just joking. I'm not a dickhead. But, bro did get cooked there a little bit. Wheel kick would be crazy. Yeah. I almost had him, but he kind of leaned, like, he kind of rolled with it with the punch, so it was kind of unfortunate timing. It don't matter. I like facing Sean O'Malley players because I like trying to solve the puzzle closing that distance. So let's take a look at the first round here, right? So here, 3 knockdowns, right? He did stun me once, but I had the 2 stuns, body health event, more significant strikes, more strikes and everything, right? Do we think it was a 10-8 round? It was a 10-8 round. Good. I would have screeched. I would have screeched at the top of my lungs. If he had, like... If he somehow did not get a 10-8 round there. That would have been insane. We'll do one more, and then we're gonna hop into the videos and the reactions and stuff. Because we all know that's what you guys come here for. You don't come here to watch me play UFC 5. I gotta get some of these shorts posted too. Alright, cool. What's going on, Christob? Hope you're having a good night. Yeah, we're gonna play one more of this, then we'll get into the reactions. I've already pulled up some videos that we're gonna watch today. So this should be good for tonight. Yes. So let me go to my watch later section. Oh, there's another one here I was gonna watch as well. So I have 5 videos total. I have 5 total videos. Okay. Interesting. A fight at lightweight. Okay. Give me Max Holloway, bro. I love using Max. Oh, he's gonna use Charles? Bro, we are about to do the in real life stuff here. This is gonna get interesting. What's going on, Pokemoso? Bro, I saw this top 10 go. Listen, DJ was nowhere to be found, and GSP was at 4, while Eli was at 3. Genuine rage bait. Then, bro, at Islam at 1. Yeah, you know, I guess, like, it does depend on your criteria, technically. I don't know. You know what's interesting to me, though? We don't ever have, like, these GOAT discussions in other sports. You know what I mean? Like, no one ever goes, like, top 10 greatest football players of all time. That's not ever something I see. What's he gonna do? Yeah, that is genuine rage bait, though. To not even have DJ inside the top 10. Like, top 5 is egregious. But, like, not even having him inside the top 10 has to be genuinely insane. Like, he is not... Like, Islam is not greater than DJ, bro. He's not. We're gonna break Charles. Rip to the body. Boom. Sorry. Oh, I thought I stuffed that. Dang. But you know, if I saw that top 10, I'd be ripping it to bits. Ripping it to bits. Dang, bro. He kind of got me there. No, sir. You ain't gonna get me on that. I'm a big basketball fan. No one ever talks about top 10s. It's always MJ or LeBron. I guess the differences between the two, though, like basketball and football or whatnot, these sports are team sports. It's a little bit different. It's not really about individuality. But the thing is, at the same time, you could also argue that these guys are still individual all-time greats. You can still debate who is the best individual player. But But then you have to talk about factors like positions. Like, maybe it'd be better to do, like, top 5 all time of each position in, like, whatever sport you're talking. Whether it's basketball or whatever. Whoopee! Teep? No, he saw that one coming. So he's starting to get a little bit tired now. I'm just going to keep it simple. Pressure with a jab. Use teeps to keep distance. I just want to make him expend his energy. I thought I denied the takedown. GG's. Good first round. Good first round. Yeah. But, like, yeah, when you talk about, like, I don't know basketball for nothing. Like, if you were to ask me my opinions on the greatest basketball players of all time, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Right? So, that was more so, like, just an example of, like, in team sports, you generally don't hear it. But I think you should talk about individualized based on positions. Actually, that reminds me. Ah, crap. I wanted to watch, I wanted to have a hockey game while I was watching this. Because I am also a fan of hockey. I just don't talk about it on the channel. Ah, crap. You know, I'll figure that out here in a second. This guy... Bro, this guy just be crotch sniffing me, bro. It's because he knows if I get back up to the feet here, he's going to be cooked. Like, you're cooked now, brother. Aw, man. I literally was holding the right triggers before he even shot the takedown. Or both the triggers, not the right triggers. I was holding both the triggers before he even shot that takedown. Alright, and we're getting back up to the feet. Boom. No, got nothing for me. Nope, stuff that one. Ooh. Oh, the elbow just missed. Watch, he's gonna shoot a takedown here. I know he's thinking about shooting a takedown. So I'm trying to give him lots of stuff up the middle. No, I went the wrong way. Crap. Crap. You know what? He's gassing out. There we go. Back up to the feet. I don't have the most amount of stamina in the world, but I have more than him. That was the slowest kick of all time there, Max. Get out of here. Elbozo. See you later. He's gonna shoot. Boom, boom. Elbow. Elbow. I don't even know where he's cut. Do you guys know where he's cut? Not a clue. But boom! Oh, he leans right into that. Actually, no. I'm not going to play that game with Charles because he can sweep me. And that's just more energy to get back up to the feet. He's gassed. There we go. And he quit. Beautiful. All right, we can move on to the reaction segment of the stream here. Beautiful. I guess I can turn off my Xbox now. How's it still round 2? Is my attention span that short? It did feel kind of long. It's because he kept freaking trying to, hug my nuts, bro. He just wanted me. Oh my goodness. Man, trying to turn on a hockey game is so freaking complicated. Okay, let me try. Let's try TSN here, I suppose. But don't worry, we're going to get into some really good stuff here. Oh, then Toronto's playing Vegas tonight. That's interesting. Now, if you guys are from Canada and you ever go to use like TSN, you'll understand the struggles, bro. You listen to A$AP Rocky's album? No, I don't really listen to rap. It's not really like I'll listen to occasional stuff or whatever, but it's not really my taste. Wait, am I? Oh. I see the problem. Oh crap. Don't worry here. Sorry guys, sorry. Just give me 1 second. I have everything here in just a second. There we go. Okay, let's put this over here. Oh, let's put this tab over here. Oh my gosh, bro. Close that. Oh shoot. Oh shoot, it's getting serious. Sorry, hockey was my first love before fighting. Okay, Montreal had an opportunity. Okay, so let's move on. Let me, let's minimize this a little bit. Minimize this. Minimize that. Put that over here. Put this over here. And let me put on my display capture. Done. Wait, no, that's my face cam. Boom. Okay, there we go. Let's do that. Boom. Beautiful. Oh, wait, no, that's not beautiful. It completely just cut off my chat. Sorry, hold on. I'm really trying to figure this out here. Can we do this? There we go. Okay. So, I guess the first thing... have the desktop audio recording. All right, cool. My predictions for the UFC in 2026... This is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Let's do it.
With 2025 coming to an end, it's time to make some UFC predictions for 2026. Starting with my first prediction, which is I think that Alex Pereira is going to move up to heavyweight and retire by the end of 2026.
Okay, so the thing, it's entirely possible that that happens, but here's the thing. If that does happen, the UFC is going to be losing its biggest star in the heavier weight classes. Who is a bigger star at light heavyweight, heavyweight, middleweight than Alex Pereira? Hobbs would have been if he was more active. Izzy's a pretty good sized star. But like Alex Pereira has saved cards. He headlined UFC 300, one of the biggest cards in UFC history. It's very possible. It's very possible.
I think he might have one more fight at light heavyweight. I think it's likely in the first half of the year they make a fight between him and Carlos Ulberg. You saw in Dana White's announcement when he announced Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje, he said he's working on something for Alex Pereira. So I think it's going to be some...
Bro, I swear, Dana's main statement is, oh, we're working on this fight. Blah, 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 blah. I don't think he's going to fight Carlos Ulberg. I don't think so. I think his next fight is going to be up at heavyweight. Probably an interim belt against Cyril Gane. We don't know when Tom Aspinall's returning. We don't know. It could be literally any time. We don't know.
Time soon that he fights Carlos Ulberg. And then after that, there's really nobody. And that's why I think after he beats Carlos Ulberg, he's going to go up to heavyweight and fight Tom Aspinall. And I think regardless of that result, he's probably going to retire. I don't think there's any more fights for him after that. And he's probably going to go over to like...
I don't think he wants to fight Tom Aspinall. I thought he said he didn't want to fight Tom. Am I crazy? I thought he said he didn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. So I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Boxing or something. I can imagine Alex Pereira not retiring fully, but moving sports. The
UFC could strip Tom as well. Yeah, that's true. They could strip him and do Pereira versus Gane for the undisputed. Or they could just do an interim belt, and then maybe they end up stripping Tom regardless. Maybe they think that, like, the UFC doesn't like Tom Aspinall. I swear they don't.
Challenge Usyk to a boxing match. Maybe
that would go so poorly for Pereira. People do not understand how good Alexander Usyk is. As a boxer, he's elite. Alexander Usyk is number 2 pound for pound, I think he is right now. That's where I have him, number 2 or number 3. Like, he's elite. Pereira would get chewed.
Fights like that. Do I think he beats Tom Aspinall? I don't think so. We've seen training footage of him recently going up against another heavyweight, and he looks decent against him, but a lot of...
But who is this guy? If this is the guy that he's referring to, who is this guy? And the thing is as well, like, Pereira is usually the bigger guy in his fights. How is he going to handle carrying the weight of someone who's bigger than him? Now, I don't know about his kickboxing career, but in MMA, he is yet to fight someone who is a similar size to him. Everyone he fights, he is bigger than. So I imagine at heavyweight, it'll be a little bit different.
These guys that match Alex Pereira's range give him a lot tougher of a test. Now, my next prediction is probably my most controversial one. I think Conor McGregor will headline the White House card. This could end up being...
Oh, I have something for us to go over later regarding this. I don't want to get into it too much right now, but... later in the stream, I have something to go over with this.
One of the worst predictions of all time. But I have a feeling that he's going to fight on this card. He seems like he is trying to get back into fighting shape. And I know, at least on the UFC side, they definitely want him to headline this card. They're not going to have Jon Jones headline this card. They don't trust him to headline, you know, one of their biggest events.
If he couldn't fight the interim champion, then yeah, you definitely shouldn't trust him.
Not going to be Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones in the White House.
And that's a good thing, by the way. I'm glad that fight isn't happening. Jon Jones doesn't deserve it. After the whole Tom Aspinall shenanigans, he doesn't deserve it.
I promise you. Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett, maybe.
Possibly.
Or whoever wins Paddy Pimblett.
Maybe the co-main event, and then have the main event be McGregor versus, like, I don't know, Hasbulla? I don't know.
Versus Gaethje. Maybe. I think if they could choose anybody, they'd obviously choose McGregor. And I think it's on McGregor. And from what we've seen, at least the hint...
Michael Chandler believes the fight with Conor McGregor will finally happen in June 2026 in the White House. Man, Michael Chandler's red panty night is not going to come. He's not going to fight Conor. Connor's not going to fight him. Just watch for later in the stream.
It's on social media. It looks like he wants to come back to the UFC and have at least one more fight.
I don't like this haircut on Conor. Can I just say that? It makes him look like a wannabe street fighter. We all know Conor's not a street fighter. Like, he doesn't fit into that category.
Who's he going to be against? If I had to guess, it's probably Michael Chandler. I mean, that was the fight that's supposed to happen.
Nope, not going to happen. I'll get into it later.
If they were to make any matchup, why not make it against Michael Chandler? I mean, Michael Chandler's the perfect opponent, even more so than before when they first scheduled the bout. He's coming off of more losses. McGregor hasn't fought in...
But to be fair, Paddy Pimblett and Charles Oliveira are better fighters now than Conor McGregor, so I don't know if it's the same thing.
Ages. A couple years later, it still seems like even better of a matchup than it was before. My third prediction is that Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev is not going to happen in 2026.
I don't think that fight's going to happen at all. I don't think so. Like, Dana White would not have let Conor McGregor jump up another division to fight for a belt. Right? Conor McGregor's the biggest star ever. What makes you think he's going to let Ilia do it? Now, if Ilia moves up to welterweight and he beats a JDM, if he beats an Ian Gary, they were having a different discussion. At least then he would have beaten a top contender. But Ilia's not going to jump up to a third weight class without fighting a top contender to fight the champion. I think this might seem controversial. This fight should be happening at a catch weight. I think if they're going to do it, it should be at like 165 pounds. I think that'd be good.
And honestly, I think it's never going to happen.
Agreed.
You know, if Ilia Topuria was to fight in the beginning of 2026 against, you know, Arman Tsarukyan, maybe we could talk about it. But based off of all the things that are happening, the fact that Ilia Topuria just gave up his lightweight belt and he won't come back until like the summer to fight the...
Well, he's not vacating. He's just dealing with some personal issues.
Winner of Gaethje versus Pimblett. I don't think there's enough time this year. And I think by the time Ilia Topuria is ready for a fight against Islam Makhachev, Makhachev will probably be retired. I think Makhachev's going to have at least 2 defenses in 2026 at welterweight. And after that, I don't think there's going to be as much interest on Islam Makhachev's side of fighting Ilia Topuria. Best case scenario, Ilia Topuria fights once this year. And I think it's going to slow down a lot of the hype between this fight between Makhachev and Ilia Topuria.
This fight's going to go down as one of those what-if fights. And honestly, I think it's better like that. You ever, like, have, like, certain fighters where you're like, man, I wonder how they would do against this fighter. It doesn't happen for a long time, and then we finally get the fight that we've been hyped up for so long, and it doesn't live up to the hype. I think this might be one of those cases where it's better if we leave it as a mystery.
Yeah. Maybe there's a possibility the fight gets made at Madison Square Garden late in the year.
No.
Maybe Topuria comes off a win against Pimblett in the summer. Maybe Islam Makhachev comes off of a defense against Shavkat.
You know what I love is the fact that we've all accepted as a community that Paddy is just going to lose to Topuria, and that Gaethje would just lose to Topuria. I love how we just accepted this as a fact. Like, we're just completely writing off that fight. I kind of like it.
In the summer, and they make that fight, but for Islam Makhachev to cut down to lightweight, I think it's going to take more time than that, because I really think this fight would take place at lightweight if it was to happen.
Islam's not going to cut back down to lightweight. He's not. That's why I think this should happen at a catchweight.
Or at least a catchweight. I don't see the
go.
UFC wanting Ilia Topuria to jump up to welterweight for this fight to happen, and there's way more interest at lightweight for this matchup. Now, my next prediction,
because it'd be more competitive. Islam's just too big, I think,
is that 2026 is going to be kind of a bad year for championship fights. There's a few divisions that seem like they have almost all the interest of UFC fans, and it's pretty much welterweight, but also lightweight does still have some interest.
Not like lightweight is not at its peak right now, bro. Lightweight was at its peak when you had like Charles Oliveira as champion. That was like peak lightweight. Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier. You know, the Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier fights were going on around that time. Arman was making his come up. Paddy was making his come up. Dan Hooker was kind of washed, to be honest. But like Michael Chandler was kind of in the mix, fighting all these top guys and having very good fights. Lightweight was at its peak from like probably 2018, 2019, all the way up until about 2022, 2023, and now it's kind of dipped in quality.
Paddy Pimblett, you have Arman Tsarukyan. But let's think about the other divisions. We're in an era where we probably have the most dominant champions currently.
Yeah.
We have
And this is why I've said for so long now that dominant champions are not good for the divisions, right? Because then it creates zero excitement for these top contender fights. Because then you're just thinking, okay, this guy's just fighting for the chance to lose to the champion next. Like, for instance, let's say we had Ian Gary fight Michael Morales. Whoever wins that fight, you're most likely going to say that that fighter is just going to lose to Islam anyway, so it won't matter, especially Ian Gary. Michael Morales at least has a chance with power, but I don't count on chances, right? Oh, excuse me. Then you take a look at, like, Khamzat. Who in the middleweight division is going to beat Khamzat? Like, Nasruddin Imavov's the number one contender. Does anybody care about that fight? Like, there's just, having dominant champions kind of keeps sport stale, is how I look at it. Like, it's not exciting. I like to have champions changing hands constantly because it keeps the excitement.
Chimaev, who seems pretty much unbeatable at middleweight. We have Tom Aspinall, who has a completely dead division, and if he gets past Gane, there's pretty much no one else other than Pereira.
Here's the thing with Tom Aspinall too. People will say that Tom Aspinall is the most skilled heavyweight, right? He's the most well-rounded, which is true. He is. And that's kind of sad. Tom Aspinall has a 1-2, a leg kick, where he barrels you into a takedown. Like, he doesn't even take you down. He, spear throws you, basically. Got pretty decent jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't really use it as much. And, when your most well-rounded fighter is Tom Aspinall, who doesn't have great striking defense, doesn't have a wide variety of arsenal, he keeps his chin way up in the air, doesn't have amazing wrestling, has good jiu-jitsu, it just goes to show that the heavyweight division is so lacking in skill. It's so power-reliant.
We have Alex Pereira, who just beat Magomed Ankalaev, the toughest contender in that division. Yeah. Bantamweight, Merab's obviously dominating that division.
Well, now it's Petr Yan. Bantamweight's become a bit more exciting now because of that, though. You guys can't deny it. You guys can't deny that.
Oja's dominating his division.
Ooh, that didn't age well.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of hype matchups for champions defending their title. And that may result to there being a bunch of super fights in 2026, but
which could make it better.
I don't really see that happening. The UFC kind of seems more reluctant than you would expect to make these super fights. So I think 2026 could end up being a year where we have Merab defending his belt at bantamweight against a bunch of guys he's already beaten. Pantoja doing the same thing. Khamzat dominating every contender in his way. And I think this year may be mostly just
Khamzat's going to fight once a year.
Kind of lackluster fights that we know who's going to win. And maybe with a little bit of big fights sprinkled in throughout the year. Maybe we get a Merab going up to 145. I could see that.
Merab's way too small for 145. I've said before I thought he would do relatively well, but nah, I think he gets work now.
That happening because it seems like Volkanovski might retire in his fight at the end of January, and then if that's the case, I think Merab will go.
He's not going to retire. I don't know where that rumor started, unless he gets starched. but I don't think he's going to retire.
Go up to 145 eventually if he keeps beating pretty much everybody twice in this division. And to be honest, I think the welterweight division in 2026 is really going to shine, which brings me to my next prediction, which is I think Islam Makhachev is going to win Fighter of the Year in 2026. He might not have the most fights. Maybe Merab has them.
The only issue with this, though, like, I think Islam can do it if he fights, let's say, 2 or 3 times next year. He's probably going to fight twice. If he fights Kamaru Usman, in my opinion, that kind of takes him out of the running. Because Kamaru Usman's not that guy anymore. Like, that would not be an epic win.
Most fights. But I think Islam Makhachev is going to have the biggest, most meaningful fights. I think he's going to have at least 2 fights in 2026. And they're all going to be massive fights. It's going to be against Ian Gary. It's going to be against probably Shavkat. There's Michael Morales. There's Carlos Prates. There's tons of contenders for Islam.
And he's going to fight Kamaru Usman first.
Makhachev to face. And I think he wins all those matchups. And if he does, I think he's 100% going to be Fighter of the Year. There's a chance Merab does, but I think if Merab goes up to 145, he loses.
When was this video made? It says a month ago. December the 1st, so this was before the last pay-per-view. Okay.
And if he stays at bantamweight, just beating up the same bantamweight contenders he's already beaten is not as impressive, and I don't think people will appreciate it as much as Islam Makhachev at welterweight. But my final prediction of 2026 is that I think we're only going to get one new champion.
Who would that be? Well, okay, so we're going to the new year now. I think that there's a possibility we can have multiple new champs, right? I think that Joshua Van's probably going to lose his belt. I think that Volkanovski could potentially lose his belt. Like, he could lose to Diego Lopez. It's possible. I don't favor it, but it's possible. Ilya could get stripped. I'm trying to think. Like, heavyweight, I think we're going to have a new champion there because Alex is going to move up to heavyweight. And I think that... I don't think heavyweight will necessarily change hands, but it's kind of dependent on if Tom Aspinall gets stripped or not.
In 2026. And I think it's going to be at featherweight because I don't see Volkanovski staying around for much longer. And who knows, maybe Diego Lopez beats Volkanovski this time around. I mean, he did get beat very handily by Volkanovski in their first match less than a year ago.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
He has that knockout power. And when you have a guy like Diego Lopez who did rock Volk in that fight, there's a chance that he dethrones Volk then and there. But regardless, I think Volkanovski's not going to make it to the end of 2026. And I think it's going to be due to retirement.
Where did this narrative come from that Volkan... Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand. Is there something that I'm not seeing? I have no clue why people think that guys like Mofsar and Lerone Murphy are going to beat someone like Volkanovski. I don't understand it. I don't know. To me, that's confusing, that the fact that we're just writing off Volk. Based on what? The fact he's getting older? Lerone Murphy isn't exactly super young either. Like, actually... Yeah, first of all, we're done with this video. We're moving on to the next video. Okay? But second of all, how old is Lerone Murphy? Bro's 34 years old. He's turning 35 this year. Why are people on this hype train that he's super young himself and that he's going to beat Volkanovski? I don't understand it. I don't know. It's confusing, but whatever. Let's move on to the next video. It is what it is. Okay, so I can get rid of that one now. So I think the next one we're going to watch... Yeah. Okay. MMA on Point. 10 fighters from the UFC that refuse to retire from MMA on Point, man. I love this channel. I used to watch their top 10 lists all the time. So this should be very interesting. Let's get it tight. Let's get in the chat. Let's go. Okay. I got a video for Dana White coming later as well that we're going to watch. Tony's going to be on this list for sure. Let's get it. It's going to be guys like Jeremy Stevens, Tony Ferguson. We're probably going to see like Chuck Liddell. I don't know who else. You guys let me know. Oh. Okay. Days between. Okay. By the way, before we fully get into this, MMA on Point, W channel. Go subscribe to them. You know what? Let's watch that again. Let's watch that again. Oh my gosh, man. Tito, let me tell you how you're feeling right now, Ortiz. If you guys have seen the clip, you know you know. Anderson Silva, Dan Henderson, especially Anderson Silva. Dan Henderson at least fought for the belt in his last fight. Anderson, no. Oh my gosh, bro. This will forever be legendary. You can't hear the video. Why didn't you guys tell me sooner? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm a monster. Just give it a second. Okay. Let me restart this. Let me restart this. 10 fighters that the UFC refused to fire by MMA On Point. They're a W channel. I remember, like, watching MMA On Point, like, back when I first got into the UFC. So a lot of my knowledge comes from this channel.
Sometimes you just gotta cut a man loose, said Denzel Washington in Remember the Titans, the greatest sports movie ever. Well, somebody should have told the UFC because there are absolutely
I'm rocking with this music.
some fighters that they simply could not let go of, even though they absolutely should have. And while some of these you can kind of justify, others just make...
Is that Cowboy? Is that Donald Cerrone? Oh gosh.
No sense.
That's
so
brutal.
let's teach the UFC how to let go by walking through...
Is that Hector Lombard? Tony Ferguson? Yeah.
through the times that they couldn't. I'm Tommy from MMA On Point, and these are fighters the UFC refused to fire. Now, what better way to organize these fighters than by the amount of days between their last victory and their final fight in the UFC? Sounds fun, right? And the least amount of days was Tito Ortiz with 371. Yes, we're kicking things off with a true legend of the sport. The only fighter in this video that was merely on a 3-fight losing streak when he was finally let go. But context absolutely matters.
I'm surprised that Dana White didn't just, like, fire him as soon as he lost the belt to Chuck. Dana hated Chuck.
While Ortiz's guillotine finish of Ryan Bader in the first round was an impressive victory, this was right after Bader had lost his title opportunity to John Jones, and he was not yet the easiest fight in the division. It was
That is elite ball knowledge. If you know, you know.
the puncher's chance of subs, the Gilly, and otherwise, Ortiz had a single victory in his last 9 fights, going all the way back 6 full years to when he lost the light heavyweight title to Chuck. But he held...
How many people do you think, like, hate watch that fight? Like, how many people do you think just love-hate watch? Like, how many people do you think go back and watch that fight just because they don't like Tito Ortiz? I bet Dana White does daily.
helped build the UFC, and despite his rocky relationship with Dana, he was popular and worth having on the roster. But things were grim. Lyoto Machida, Forrest Griffin, Matt Hamill, Rashad Evans, even though that fight was a strong showing before he was KO'd, all losses during this period. When Hajiro Nogueira KO'd Ortiz in the first round, it was Tito who made the decision to retire with one final fight, a trilogy bout with Forrest Griffin that he would lose. Of course, Tito would be back in the fight game a year later, signing with Bellator. The fact the UFC didn't fight to keep him, though, is telling. Andrei Arlovski, 791 days. If you had told me in 2008, when former heavyweight champion Andrei Arlovski first left the UFC, that he'd be fighting for the promotion in 2024, I'd have laughed in your stupid face, because 2024 is the future. What is he fighting, robots?
My gosh.
The Pitbull would have quite the odyssey after his first UFC.
Literally every Andrei Arlovski fight in the last few years went the exact same too. It was always like relatively competitive and went to a decision, where he was actually winning some of those too.
Tenure, getting KO'd mid-jump by Fedor, losing entirely in Strikeforce, soccer kicking Tim Sylvia in 1, and getting his jaw Jake Paul'd by Rumble Johnson in WSOF. Despite
getting his jaw Jake Paul, that's insane.
Despite that, though, from 2011 to 2014, he won 6 of 8 and would find himself back in the Octagon trademark. Arlovski would go on a tear, too, and end up in a title eliminator with Stipe Miocic, where he'd be KO'd in 54 seconds. What the fuck? This would be the start of a 5-fight losing streak with 4 finishes.
But to be fair, losing to guys like Stipe and Francis Ngannou, that's not really a big deal. Like, there are worse fighters to lose to.
That one would think would have been the end for the returning heavyweight. But heavyweight was so thin, his next opponent was Junior Albini. Okay. So Arlovsky got to stick around and go a respectable 9-5 over the next 5 years, just kinda existing without real purpose beyond being a body. A 4-fight skid would see his end, however, after that. Not because the UFC cut him, he chose not to re-sign, otherwise he'd have been fighting on the prelims of UFC 400 probably. Chris Lieben, 910 days. Here's a situation where I genuinely believe the UFC was keeping Chris Lieben around so he didn't end up dead. Of course, Chris was from the first beloved season of Tough, a whole group that Dana had a very close connection to, and with Lieben, he was the star of so many of those early Fight Night cards. But as time progressed, Chris's substance abuse problems began to escalate, following his 27-second KO victory over Van.
Like, these are the type of people that Anderson Silva was fighting. Chris Lieben. Come on.
Silva, Lieben would lose to Mark Munoz and test positive for painkillers afterwards and be suspended for a year. When he came back, by his own admission, Lieben was still badly abusing substances and would lose his next 3 after returning, essentially quitting the fight and the sport after the first round of his bout with Uriah Hall. I do think the UFC would have kept Lieben around had he not chosen to retire, but this is an instance where it was probably out of concern more than anything. Cynthia Calvillo, 1,029 days.
Okay, this, like, I mean, I don't know. Does anybody care about the women's stuff? I don't know. I personally don't.
The UFC saw a great deal in Cynthia Calvillo. She was going to be the Mexican heritage Ronda Rousey. You know, the UFC loves trying to corner that market. Lots of pesos.
True. First time. They're so desperate to get a champion from Mexico, a long-reigning Mexican champion. That's what they want so badly. Why do you think they're trying to get Diego Lopez? I know he's Brazilian, but, like, he lives in Mexico. He identifies as a Mexican, whatever. Like, he embraces himself as a Mexican, so they really want him to be champ.
Never met Conor McGregor. I called Lorenzo and I said, man, I don't know if this guy can fight, but if he can even throw a punch, he's going to be a fucking rock star. Ronda Rousey, I had a 45-minute meeting with her and decided to do women's MMA, and I feel pretty strongly about this one, too.
She would debut on the main card of a pay-per-view, which is not normal, and initially, Cynthia was kicking ass, winning 6 of 8, drawing with Marina Rodriguez, and only losing to the place all hype goes to die, Carla Esparza. But then the bad times settled in. A 5-fight losing streak over the course of 3 years. You'd have thought back-to-back TKO losses to Jessica Andrade and Andrea Lee, 3 fights into this streak would have meant curtains. But 2 split-decision losses later to Nina Nunes and Lupito Godinez, the UFC finally said goodbye, and then immediately tried to re-sign her. I'm not kidding. She was scheduled for another fight later that year after her release, but backed out of it. And then 6 months later, again, they tried to give her a fight, and this time she accepted, but missed weight by 3 pounds. The fight got canceled, and the UFC finally decided that Mexican Ronda Rousey wasn't happening. Renan Barão, 1,148.
Renan Barão, bro. People who know how good Renan Barão was in his prime, bro, no. But that TJ fight, that first TJ fight really did a number on him.
Days. Of everybody we talk about today, I cannot for the life of me figure out why the UFC wanted to keep Renan Barão around. It's true that former champions get a bit more leeway than the regular roster, but I think given the circumstances, that Barão would have been the exception to that trend. I mean, when he botched that main event fight with Dillashaw when he passed out cutting weight, the UFC threw him completely under the bus.
This is very disappointing and very...
Well, he also hit his head, I believe, after he passed out. It wasn't just the fact he passed out, he also hit his head. Got a concussion, I'm pretty sure.
Very embarrassing.
You really think the UFC is going to forgive this man for making Joe Soto a pay-per-view headliner? And it wasn't just the losses, because there were definitely those. Barão would lose 7 of his last 8 fights with the promotion, but he also missed weight or had weight-related issues in 3 separate fights during that losing streak. I mean, just a whole-ass mess, and an eventual 5-fight losing streak before getting released finally.
After you saw the Cameron, I believe it's also had something to do with the decline of Barão.
His final bout with a return to featherweight where he got UD'd by Douglas Silva de Andrade. So you could argue that he got that 5th fight because he chose to change weight classes, but I mean, how many last chances are you going to give a guy? Donald Cerrone, 1,155 days.
Who was Donald Cerrone's last win? Was it L.A. Quinta? I forget.
Cowboy falls into a unique category. Company man who will fill any card anytime he's asked, that fans love because he puts on exciting fights, generally, whether he wins or loses. Meaning he was one of those guys that probably could have lost 10 in a row and they'd have kept giving him fights. The only way you get stopped is if you're one of Dana's boys and he starts worrying about your long-term health. One would think after getting stopped by Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, and Conor McGregor back to back to back, that worry would have began to set in.
But honestly, Dana gets money eyes, right? He gets those money eyes going, and he's like, oh, how can I milk you? I don't care about your long-term health. That's why we don't have, like, fighter health care or, like, retirement funds, nothing. Nope. Money, money, money.
Got UD'd by Anthony Pettis next. For most, that...
I thought a lot of people thought Cowboy won that fight, though. Am I mistaken on that?
would have been curtains, but for someone like Cerrone, that just means lesser but exciting matchups like Nico Price, who he drew with. When Donald got finished by late replacement Alex Morano the next year, extending that winless streak for 6 in a row, that absolutely would have meant pink slips.
That was Donald Cerrone too. Oh my gosh, he looks like he's 50.
For nearly the entire roster. And yet, for the next year, 2 failed bouts with Joe Lozon were scheduled, and finally Cerrone would be given a short-notice fight with Jim Miller that he took, got choked, then did what the UFC was unwilling to do themselves and put himself out to pasture.
Yep.
Takanori Gomi.
I'm pretty sure Donald Cerrone's also talked about coming back. I hope not, but I think he's on like TRT now and stuff. I don't think he can pass a USADA test. It's not even USADA, but whatever.
1,345 days. I think when Dana is a fan of a fighter, he really gives them the benefit of the doubt, because as beloved as Takanori Gomi was, he had absolutely no business fighting in the UFC as long as he did. There was really only one highlight in Gomi's UFC run, that was KOing Tyson Griffin when he'd never been knocked out before. Beyond that, besides a pair of Fight of the Nights, Takanori's run was very underwhelming given his status in Japan. Every big high-profile fight, he lost. Kenny Florian, Clay Guida, Nate Diaz, Diego
Imagine getting submitted by Clay Guida. Do you know how crazy that's gotta be?
Sanchez. And then after sort of puttering along with a 4-4 record, Gomi would go on a 5-fight losing streak where he got finished in the first round 5 times in a row. If you lose 2 in a row in the first round, you might get your walking papers in the UFC. 5 straight first round losses. The guy was a legend, but even legends have limits. Michelle Watterson, 1,386 days.
Like, think about that. 1,386 days. That's how many years, right? Like, that's like almost, what, 4... That's almost 4 years without a win. Oh my god. What's number
Popular
one gonna be?
is important in mixed martial arts. It's even more important when you struggle to get into that upper echelon of the division, but you'd like to stick around for a while. Everybody loved Michelle Watterson Gomez. I was a massive fan of hers in...
Nobody loves Michelle Watterson Gomez, bro. Nobody's like, who's your favorite fighter? Michelle Watterson Gomez. Nobody's ever said that.
Invicta. Her fight with Jessica Penne for the atomweight title was a classic, but in the UFC, the Karate Hottie would start hot, beating Angela Magana and then PVZ back-to-back, but then she ran into Thug Rose and Tisha Torres and came up short. After stringing together 3 decent wins, again, she reached near the top of the division and fell short, losing to Joanna Champion and Carla Esparza. Watterson Gomez headlined 4 different fight nights over her career and was the co-main on 2 others.
But like, how many people really tune into the women's main events? Like, seriously, like, who? Like, I almost, like, I watch, but, like, I'm not, like, yay, I'm so excited. Like, I'm like, whoa, I can listen to this crappy commentary in the Apex.
The UFC was seeing metrics that said people wanted to watch Michelle fight, and that is the only justification I can see for allowing her 5 straight losses in a row before she herself retired. So maybe we would have gotten a 6th fight. They even gave her like the Robbie Lawler retirement video package in the cage. The UFC,
even though she was not that guy,
fucking loved them some Michelle Watterson Gomez. Tai Tuivasa, 1,450 days.
And counting. And counting, bro. It literally keeps going.
As of this writing, Tai Anthony Tuivasa is scheduled for a bout at UFC 325, 18 whole months after his last fight. Now, apparently, he's got some visible abs.
Yeah, right. If Tai Tuivasa gets visible abs before me, I'm gonna screech.
You serious? Been working hard, that's great, but this fight will be 1,450 days since his last victory. 5 straight losses.
And the thing is, it's like, he beat Derek Lewis and, like, Greg Hardy or whatever. Those guys are, you can argue, favorable stylistic matchups. As soon as he fought heavyweights that had even a shred of skill, like, what, Cyril Gane, Sergey Pavlovich, Volkov, Tabora, these guys at least have some skill to where they can absolutely outwork Tai Tuivasa. Rosenstrike, how that fight was a split decision, I'll never know. He's going to get knocked out by Taliesin Teixeira.
In a row, 4 of those were finishes. After the initial 3-fight skid, Tuivasa still headlined a fight night against Marcin Tybura. Most fighters would get the axe after 3 straight that were all finishes, but we all know the deal here. Ty is a big-time fan favorite. His style is modern-day Tank Abbott, and he does a fun thing with a shoe after fights that
that's
people
gross.
like, I guess. He's a very agreeable fella, seems like a nice dude. Then factor into that the heavyweight division is thinner than Christian.
Like, bro, he out of camp, he gets up to over 300 pounds. How could be okay? This is a question for people who are overweight, right? I get that some people have like a coping mechanism or whatever where they have to they eat a lot of food, right? It's just how they cope with stuff. I feel like after a certain point though, like I don't think I'd be able to get up past like 100 80 pounds without feeling like I'm a gross sack. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe, I think it's more than, it's not just a self-control thing. I think it's also just like, some people just struggle not to eat, the way that some people struggle to eat. It's the same thing.
Bale in the Machinist right now, and yeah, you got Ty going for a 6th fight on pay-per-view after losing 4 years straight. Sam Alvey, 1,520.
Smiling Sam, hey. Do not be dissing my boy Smiling Sam.
7 days. This is probably the guy that came to mind when you clicked on this video. It became a meme anytime anybody that was pretty solid upper tier got their walking papers that maybe felt a bit unwarranted. People be posting a picture of old Smiling Sam smoking a big old stogie, grinning from ear to ear. Another one bites the dust, but Sam keeps on kicking. And yeah, there's legitimately no possible way to justify 9 straight fights without a victory in the UFC and remaining on the roster. Now, let's not bash this guy completely, okay? He did have a few decent wins. He beat Dan Kelly when he was still undefeated. He beat very late stage Rashad Evans and Nate Marquardt, but that doesn't exactly scream let the guy keep fighting even though he hasn't won in 9 fights. But Alvey had a few things going for him. He was the definition of a company man through and through. I imagine he was a pretty cheap option for putting a body on a card in a fairly fan-friendly style, and in the era he had that losing streak, the UFC needed bodies to fill cards, and they could always count on Smilin' Sam. Hector Lombard, 1,600.
Oh my, 1,600 days. That is over 4 years,
52 days. One thing that is known about Lombard's initial UFC contract is that they were paying this man a pretty penny to steal him from Bellator. At the time, he was on a 25-fight unbeaten streak and considered one of the best fighters outside the UFC. In addition to a $400,000 signing bonus, Lombard was reportedly paid $300,000 per bout. And the dude struggled right out of the gate. Loses his debut to Tim Boesch, moves to welterweight after getting beat by Yushin Okami, then he beats Nate Marquardt and Jake Shields. Solid wins, but after his fight with Josh Berkman, he pops for being too juicy and spends over a year.
I mean, look at him, bro. Bro is like he makes Yoel Romero, I guess he's like a lighter version of Yoel Romero. Right, Yoel Romero makes Hector Lombard look small.
On the shelf. Then he loses 6 fights in a row, and he was finished in 3 of those bouts. One of them he lost via DQ for strikes after the horn, and that was the 5th loss in that sequence. So the UFC looked at all that. Crazy pay, at least early on, a big drug fail, 5-fight losing streak.
Hey, for Hector Lombard, though, it's worth it, right?
A DQ loss, and said, you know what? Let's give him one more try. After his loss to Talis Latis, Lombard's contract was not renewed. Rashad Evans, 1,666 days. Okay, 2 factors here. 1, Dana loved him some early tough standouts. You couldn't get him to part ways.
Nostalgia factor, baby. Nostalgia.
Is with hardly any of them over the years. And the other factor is that Evans did the thing that kind of resets your loss count sometimes. He changed weight classes. If you are an established name and you go to a new weight class for the first time, that's huge. That's
he moved down to 185 because a lot of like the guys out John Jones fighting at 205 around this time, a lot of them were just ballooned up 185ers. Like if they lost some weight, they could make 185, right? Some of them 100% could. Some of them went on to, so that's how you know it's true.
Refresh. And that's exactly what Evans did after dropping back-to-back fights to Ryan Bader and Glover Teixeira. Rashad moved down to middleweight for the first time in his career, a move that many felt he should have done all along because he was always a bit undersized at 205. And people were excited he looked like $1,000,000 at that weight, but he sure didn't fight like it, unfortunately. His debut, a loss to Dan Kelly after Dan Kelly had already lost to Sam Alvey. Then he actually lost to Sam Alvey. Now, neither of those were knockout losses. If they were, I do think the UFC would have signed the pink slip. But then Evans did the weight switch again. Boom. I'm back up to 205. All right, let's give him one more try. When Anthony Smith KO'd him in 53 seconds.
When you're getting knocked out by Anthony Smith in 53 seconds, that's how you know your career's cooked, bro. You gotta hang it up. Put the fries in the bag. Show's over.
A brutal knee. That was it. Rashad retired, at least temporarily, and was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. I suspect that was his last fight anyway, but they let him go out gracefully. Tony Ferguson, 1,880.
Tony was sad, bro. I watched this fight with Gaethje live, and I think that was like the 2nd or 3rd time I'd ever watched Tony fight. So I didn't really get to watch Tony Ferguson in his prime, but man, I know Tony was something special, man.
3 days. Yep, it's time for the really sad one. The decline of Tony Ferguson was brutal to witness. But of everyone that's come up so far, while it is absurd that the UFC would let this man lose 8 fights in a row, I got why it was hard to let him go. And to the UFC's credit just a little bit, they did keep de-escalating the types of opponents that he would face, I think as best as they could. After losing that interim title fight to Justin Gaethje.
Like this fight was brutal. This fight was brutal to watch, chat. Not gonna lie.
Which snapped his epic 12-fight win streak that gave him claim to arguably the best lightweight in the world for a time. He would get UD'd by Charles Oliveira, a follow-up that fit with Ferguson's position at the top of the division still. Beneil Dariush, another one that felt fitting, another UD loss. Then we get the Michael Chandler fight. Exciting, could be fun, also felt pretty appropriate, but he gets that brutal front kick KO, and then...
But the thing is, like, Tony was doing... Oh my gosh, that's a crazy picture. Tony was doing well in the fight up until the knockout, right? He won the first round. He was doing well. You know, Michael Chandler lands a front kick. That kick would have knocked out Francis Ngannou. You know what I mean? Like, that kick was powerful.
Things start feeling kind of bad. Now, don't get me wrong, we were relieved when Nate Diaz avoided certain destruction against Khamzat and fought Tony next, who was meant to fight Li Zhang-Liang, so that was fine because he was still there and whatever, we just have to have him fight, I guess. King Green also felt kind of okay as a matchup choice, but he would put him to sleep. And I'm not saying at this point we weren't feeling concerned about all of this. We were. I think everybody wanted it to stop, but at least it seemed like the UFC was too, just not enough to have the courage to let him go. When he lost to Patty with David Goggins in his corner, things were starting to get pretty weird. And then the Mike Chiesa bout would cement Tony as having the longest...
But hey, now Tony's undefeated in Misfits, right? He is the Misfits middleweight champion. He's undefeated in boxing. So we're all happy to watch that.
Losing streak in UFC history, which would finally be the end of everything. Somebody get me a drink. Jeremy Stephens, 2006...
2,625 days. How many years do you guys think that is? Is that like 7 years? Hold on. Let's do 2,625. Divide that by 365. It's a little over 7 years. That's insane.
625
Legitimate
days.
insanity.
Being the hardest hitting 145er in the division comes with some perks, okay? The UFC has had a deep, deep love for Jeremy.
And then Jeremy Stephens came back. He came back last year technically now for a fight against Mason Jones where he actually did all right.
Jeremy Stephens since forever. And my God, did they let that turn into a wild run of losses without this guy getting the can. And even weirder, a return after that, which made no sense, but we'll get there. Stephens...
That fight was competitive, at least.
Entered the UFC in 2007, and he has had some legitimately solid victories and moments. 6 fight of the night bonuses, 4 more for KOs. He knocked out RDA, Dennis Bermudez, he beat Renan Barao, Gil Melendez, Duho Choi, he KO'd Josh Emmett. Over 11 years, Stephens would go 15-13, so over 500. Not bad. But then Jeremy would go 6 fights straight without a single victory in the promotion. Granted, one of those was an eye-poke-no contest right at the start of the fight, but 5 losses in a row is still fairly unusual for the UFC. He's not a former champion or anything.
But at least he's fighting top contenders as well. He's not just fighting nobody. He's losing to Zabit, Mateusz Gamrot. Like, he's not losing to nobodies. Jose Aldo, like, come on. At least not nobodies.
He would get finished in 3 of those 5 losses, and after 15 years, the UFC finally lets Stephens go. But then, randomly just last year, Jeremy somehow returned to the UFC for 1 more loss against Mason Jones.
Do we think that was a short notice replacement, possibly? Like, they were looking for someone to fill in, possibly? Maybe.
Tying him with Clay Guida for the most losses in UFC history. Maybe they just wanted him to have
Is Clay Guida the next up on this list?
record. Anderson Silva, 2,940 days. Now, you might have heard me say that number of days and thought, wait a second, Tommy. Anderson Silva beat Derek Brunson just a few years before he retired. Well, I'm not counting that one because the vast majority of us think the judges got it wrong. And I'm not counting the terrible Nick Diaz fight because that got overturned as well. Honestly, we shouldn't count the Stephan Bonner victory either, but I'm going to. After that, the Spider would famously lose his title to Chris Weidman, break his leg to Chris Weidman, return to pop for alleged exotic dick pills against Diaz.
Oh my gosh. Bro, and I know that people are going to say like that he only popped because of the leg injury, but he popped after the leg injury, bro. He popped after the leg injury.
Then come back from all that and lose to Michael Bisping, which, that one's controversial. Ref did him dirty at least. Lost soundly to Daniel Cormier.
2 days notice at least, though.
Just to save that horrible 200 card. We already talked Brunson. They did a passing of the torch with Izzy that everybody knew he wouldn't win.
But that fight was really competitive, though. That fight wasn't like a shutout.
Then we get into the really bad times. That should have been it. He was going 7 years without a legitimate win. 7 straight fights. And after that, he's fighting Jared Cannonier? Why the fuck is Anderson Silva fighting Jared Cannonier? That is insane. He would get leg kick finished in the first round. Then that next Halloween, the UFC made a massive mistake and put Silva in a main event in the Apex against Uriah Hall.
Dang,
an ugly
bro.
fight, an ugly
Yeah,
TKO.
that was brutal. That was a hard fight to watch. I was hoping Anderson would go out on a win, but
That would mark his final moments in the cage in front of nobody. Ugh.
is there someone else to
BJ
walk
Penn, 3,094 days. Even though we didn't rank these, we
3,000, bro. BJ Penn, bro. I don't get it. What was the UFC thinking? They were thinking cash cow. That's all they're thinking. Milking it for money. They don't care about the fighters, bro. It's just all about money. It's all about money. Let's move on to the next video. Oh my gosh. Sorry for the lack of commentary on that one. I was just kind of like intrigued. So I guess I can remove that one. Okay. So let's go to the next video. You guys ready for this? Next video. Dana White is the UFC's biggest problem right now. I agree. This may be the first time I agree with you, Kenny. So you better come in here with some solid stuff. Let's get it.
I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but we're better off in an era without Dana White running the UFC. Like,
And it's so true though, because like we used to be in an era where having Dana White around was fantastic. Now it's just like we're getting Volkanovski versus Lopez 2. We're getting Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje, right? We're getting Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer. What are we doing here?
stupid vanilla milk dud has been saying the dumbest shit. Like, Dana's been irking me. I don't even like making videos about this, guys. Like, I'm not even doing no rap intro or anything. I'm just really pissed right now. I feel like we're in an era where Dana White's lack of enthusiasm and his Instagram lives when announcing fights.
I don't watch Dana White's Instagram lives. All right, you guys are gonna have to let me know how they are. But like, I can imagine, like, I've seen some people say that he's been lacking a lot of enthusiasm. I've also seen people just straight up hating on him recently after that announcement of Izzy versus Pyfer. So it's interesting.
All the way to the way he addresses issues in the UFC that are really, like, these are really important things that we need to confront him about. But
Yeah, like, for instance, the eye poke situation, Tom Aspinall versus Real Gun, right? The reporter brings it up to him. He's like, who gives a shit? Who cares? Right? It's the fight game. Like, bro, you wouldn't be saying that if it was John Jones getting eye poked. You'd be like, oh no, my poor boyfriend. Oh, Johnny.
when he's confronted about it, he kind of brushes off his shoulder, man. Yeah, I'm badass. I'm gonna not acknowledge your question in the most badass way in my head, and I'm gonna think it's so cool to say. This interview on Complex, this guy was asking Dana White, I think, some pretty important questions, which is a little bit rare to see nowadays. I feel like...
Yeah, because you know what it is with Dana? Okay, listen, I don't dislike Dana, right? But I think he's past his peak. The thing is with Dana, especially nowadays, if you, heaven forbid, ask him anything he doesn't like, he's immediately super defensive. He will immediately ban you from events. He will not allow you to come. That's why we've been getting these boring old press conferences and the same things on repeat. Because it's always... Do you think you're gonna win? Da-da-da-da-da. Instead, we should be getting reporters asking, why hasn't this guy been cut from the UFC despite going on a 5-fight loss streak? And why is this guy getting to fight on a pay-per-view card, considering the fact that he hasn't fought anybody notable yet? It seems like you're trying to cherry pick and build superstars that haven't done anything. We need to be reporters asking real questions, not, oh, do you think you're gonna win this fight? Like, no, shut up.
I feel like you don't usually see people asking Dana questions that we want to hear answers to.
True.
And instead of Dana
Because Dana gets so offended and bans people who disagree with him or argue with him.
White being a real human being, being a real boss of a company, and answering the question straight up and trying to give us the reply, he just kind of brushes it off. Now, if you don't
Politics it. He acts like a politician.
know what I'm talking about, I'm going to play a couple clips in this video, but this is one of them. I'm going to shut my beautiful mouth, a little bit handsome mouth, maybe depends how you feel about me, and I'm going to play the video so you guys have some context. Listen with your ears, look with your eyes.
You got Volk Lopez 2. Some people, I guess, maybe were questioning why there was a rematch when the first fight felt a little decisive on Volk's behalf.
Yeah. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Oh, no, Dana. No, Dana. That is not what you do. If you're gonna make this fight, even though we don't agree with it. If you're gonna make this fight, at least try to make it interesting. Oh, well, Volkanovski, was decisively the victor over Diego Lopez in that first fight. But Diego Lopez since then has made massive adjustments to his game. He knows exactly what he needs to do going into this rematch. Or maybe say he was the only contender who was willing to step up. Laurel Murphy wasn't ready yet. Guys like Movsar weren't ready to step up yet. Diego Lopez was the only one ready for the specific date when we wanted Volkanovski to fight. When Volkanovski said he was ready for a fight, Diego Lopez is the one who stepped up, so he's the one who gets the fight. It's first come, first serve. We do not allow people to sit on their ranks. If he had said something like that, respect! But no!
It was just a fight that made sense. We get in that room and we start putting.
Do you guys know, you guys ever see some...
Kenny, I actually agree with you for once. I can't believe this is happening. Oh my gosh, you and I are thinking the same thing right now. What is this?
something you literally feel like hitting something? Did you hear first of all, you see how smart ass of a reply that was? If you don't like it, don't watch it. Yeah, if you don't like the
Way to turn people away from watching your brand.
content, just don't. This is just elite promotion, by the way. This is how you promote a company. Yeah, if you don't like a fight that doesn't make sense, just don't watch my company. Don't watch something I build up and I care so much about.
I wonder, the day that Dana White is no longer around in the UFC and we get a new president, is the marketing going to finally improve? Are we finally going to see actual number one contenders fighting for the belt? Are we finally going to see Armin fight for a belt? Are we finally going to have, fight night cards worth watching and not having women's fights in the Apex? Something.
It looks like you don't give a shit about your company. And I don't think you do, I really don't think you do. You bald-headed, milk-dudded, leprechaun piglet ass dude nigga, bro.
Calm down, Kenny. Calm down, bro.
Fuck! Dude, he's so annoying. How is he gonna just say that? If you don't like it, don't watch it. You're a businessman. What kind of promotion strategy is this?
It's the gaslighting strategy. I'm telling you, Dana White's gonna gaslight you into watching his product. Well, if you don't like it, don't watch it. It's gonna make you think, wait, should I watch it then? Am I being a brat for not liking it? Am I being ungrateful? No, you, the fan, are not being ungrateful if you don't watch this fight. You understand that your time is valuable, and watching stuff like this, that we probably already know what's going to happen. And I'm not saying Diego Lopez can't win. I'm just saying it's undeserved.
There's nothing but irk fans. What he could have said was, I think... I don't want to give it to Movsar because I don't really like Movsar. I don't want to give it to Laurel Murphy because I feel like he doesn't have star power. I seen Diego Lopez going viral for having a little hat over his head and looking ominous with a mustache. I feel like the casual fans are gravitating towards that. I'm not trying to fight off divisional.
Okay, well, I feel like you can't say that either, because if you were to say something like that, then you're kind of just dissing future potential title challengers, right? Those guys could also potentially challenge for a title in the future, so I wouldn't say that either.
Rankings nowadays, I'm trying to fight off of what's more popular in my eyes, so I'm going to book Diego Lopez versus Volk. But he didn't say that. What he said instead was, if you don't like it, then don't watch it.
Yeah.
True. Who do you think you are? And then he goes on and says, yeah, well, listen, guys, when we went back into the boardroom and we had when we went back in the boardroom and had a little conversation back and forth, we're like, this one makes the most sense. It doesn't make the most sense. There's no world where Diego Lopez, who was on the verge of, by the way, losing to Gene Silva. Now, I know I picked Diego Lopez to win, and I'm happy I got the pick right.
But, Gene Silva was piecing up Diego Lopez in that fight. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. Hey, Rico. Wake up. You're snoring. You're bothering my chat.
I'm going to say one of my luckier picks. I'm going to say actually one of my luckier picks. Because despite Diego Lopez having a really dominant first round, that second round, Gene Silva was starting to break Lopez. And Lopez just didn't show improvement to the point that it warranted a title shot. I don't think anyone saw that fight and was like, dude, that's badass. Get him a title shot ASAP. And what gets me more upset about this is that Alexander Volkanovski actively was saying, I want to fight Movsar next. Or if not Movsar, Laurel Murphy. Never once did he say, I want to rematch him. This is the thing with Volk.
Volk literally said after the Lopez fight, he wanted to fight Movsar. So I don't know why Movsar hasn't been fighting either. Sitting out and waiting for a title shot is not going to work for him because he's not entertaining. The UFC doesn't want to give him one to begin with. But now they're just going to have an excuse to not give him a title shot by saying he hasn't been fighting. He hasn't fought in over a year.
Lose for Volk. He wins. Okay, cool. You're supposed to win. Your legacy's not going to get raised from that. He loses. You just lost to the guy that you arguably schooled last time. What happened, dude? And Volk losing is very possible with a stupid puncher's chance. But Dana White's whole brushing off the scenario and trying to be like, if you don't like it, watch it. You're a businessman. Have some more integrity.
That's true.
Act like it, bro. You're running this company. Act like it. You know, don't be going on lives and having abrupt cutouts and shit and act like you're so serious. I don't think he's in this for the long run. This is the demeanor.
I wonder if Dana White's like 1 foot out the door at this point, and he's just trying to get the cash grab now before dipping. He's trying to make his bag and dip. That's what I think.
This is the attitude of someone who's like 1 foot out the door. I don't know. He has some
did it. Boom.
Like collaborations going on with boxing. I don't know if he sees boxing as money, because let's be real, boxing does make more money than our sport, despite our sport, in my opinion, being a lot more entertaining. He might be looking like that Dubai money route, you know, that oil money route, because he doesn't look like he cares about his company at all anymore. If you don't like it, watch it. That's the most triggering statement I think I've heard from his mouth. Now, typically, I don't make videos about Dana because I don't really care too much about like, who cares, Dana. But it's getting to a problem where like his lack of promotion for his company. How he doesn't
I think he could also be burnt out as well. If you think about it, he's been the head of this promotion for however long now. How long has he been president for? Is it 25 years, 25 years, something like that? Like, you're going to start to get burnt out, want to venture into other things. So it's possible Dana's just getting burnt out by all of it.
Acknowledge like important questions and kind of tries to brush it off because it's his first time getting confronted face to face. This guy is never getting an interview again, by the way. Look at this face. This dude right here. Keep your eye on him. You will
so unimpressed.
Never see him interview Dana White again, and I'll put any amount of money on it. You'll never see him again, ever. No. You'll never, ever. You will.
Why did that just sounded like freaking like Billy Madison? Like, you ever watch the movie Billy Madison? With Adam Sandler, that's what he sounded like there. But yeah, I agree. You probably won't ever see him again because he gave Dana White a little bit of pushback, something that other reporters and interviewers don't do.
Say goodbye to this guy. This guy, congratulations. I don't know if Complex sent you for an interview. You will never get another interview with Dana. So good job asking a question that we care about, dog. And I respect it, but just know Dana can't deal with this. Dana wants media questions that he knows that they're going to say something to glaze his company. Like
literally softballing it.
Oh, dude, Dana, the Volkanovski Lopez fight was badass. How'd you come up with that? Hey, man, I'm the best at that. That's Dana. That's my great Dana White impression. Shout out this guy. He asked actually pretty solid questions that we're going to get into, and then Dana White, just being Dana White, answers the questions in the most Dana White way possible. Exhibit B.
Dana White says Arman Tsarukyan's situation isn't comparable to when Bilal Muhammad was waiting for his title shot. I never even thought about it that way, actually. Tsarukyan had his opportunity. He didn't take it. I have to be able to count on somebody if they're going to fight for world championship.
Now, this scenario was him asking about the Arman Tsarukyan situation. Now, I know most people have mixed reviews about this. I know there's going to be some people in the comments saying Arman doesn't deserve it because Arman, even though he's number one contender for the last 2 years, he pulled out the Islam fight, so he should never get a title shot ever again. Now, he pretty much talks to him about the Arman situation and asks Dana White to like kind of explain like what does Arman need to do next. And I want you to look at what Dana's saying during this, because when it comes down to it, Dana had nothing to say. He doesn't know what Arman has to do next. And he actually brings up situations like below.
Yeah, but what else could Arman possibly do? If he fights someone else, he runs the possibility of losing his number one rank, right? Charles Oliveira got a title shot before Arman, despite Arman beating Charles.
Muhammad, which in this, it's funny because in this question and answer, he actually admits that he purposely didn't give Bilal Muhammad a shot despite his long win streak for no reason. Dana's very interesting. Watch this question and answer.
I think a lot of people feel like Arman
should have been Tsarukyan.
Yeah.
Tsarukyan's got to work his way back up there, man. Tsarukyan's had opportunity. He didn't take it. I have to be able to count on somebody if somebody's going to fight for a world.
What was that cut there? Did you guys hear that? Very, very subtly. All right, watch this. Watch this.
That opportunity. He didn't take it. I have to be able to count on somebody.
You see that? There's a slight little cut there. It makes me feel like there's something that didn't make it into the interview.
If somebody's going to fight for a world championship.
You have to be able to count on somebody. How long have you been trying to make Conor versus Michael Chandler? But because you counted on Conor, like
how long did you try to make John Jones versus Tom Aspinall?
All those years, and how long did it take you to book Aspinall and John Jones successfully? Oh, I'm just asking because you just said you have to count on.
Kenny. I'm going to stop you right there. Don't even think about asking Dana White a tough question, okay? If you even think about asking my boy Dana, my boy White, what do you call him? You called him a freaking white something head. If you dare go after my baby Dana White, you're shadow banned for life from UFC events. You're not allowed to freaking pressure Mr. Dana White.
People, especially for a title fight, pretty sure Aspinall Jones was supposed to be for a title fight. You counted on Jones, and how did that go? Don't try to be like, oh, I have to count on people to like start putting in negotiations. That's not the case with you. Your track record has shown, to be fair. So if we're going to be objective here, let's be objective. If you're going to just spew nonsense, Dana, spew nonsense. But say it how it is, man.
I have to be able to count on somebody if somebody's going to fight for a world championship. Got to be able to count on them. It's like the whole John Jones thing right now, you know.
What does it look like when you say he's got to...
And he's just bringing it up because he says he's not going to let John Jones fight in the White House. We'll probably get into that a little bit later in the video.
work his way back up? Like, what does that look like?
Well, he just fought this last fight he won.
Yeah.
Almost blew the fight by headbutting him in the face at the weigh-ins. We'll see. It's not like...
It wasn't really that serious. Let's give it a rest. It's really not that serious.
He hasn't had the opportunity.
See, this is what I like. He didn't really know what to say here. What does he have to do to build up? Well, listen, he won his last fight, you know, but he almost blew it. But this almost happened, so that almost didn't happen.
And it didn't even almost, like, yeah, whatever, he tried to headbutt Dan Hooker, and Arman is a bit of a wild card at times, I will say that. But ultimately, the fight went on, and Arman won decisively. So what now?
He almost blew the fight, and then Dan Hooker almost pulled out. Hooker was never going to pull out. We've seen situations like this before. Conor McGregor almost killed somebody by throwing a fucking big-ass object to a bus.
But we're still going to let him fight Khabib. We're still going to let him fight Khabib. Dana's going to give Sean the title shot before Merab. I would not be surprised at all. 165 and 225 weight class is needed in a rehydration clause. If we're going to do 165, then I think that 170 should be 175. Because I don't want a 5-pound weight gap. That's kind of almost pointless. All right, 225 would be nice as well. If you think MMA Chi is dumb, you don't know anything. All he does is study tape and show you examples when he explains. He actually trains BJJ and striking, so I'd listen to his opinion. When did I say that he's dumb? I don't think I called him specifically dumb. If I did, that was probably just for the sake of that video. Like, I wouldn't actually... Like, I don't generally resort to insulting people. And Chi, if that's your alternate account, your ego got hurt by my video, then I don't really care.
Later, the fight gets booked. Stop it, dude, with this almost stuff. Stop it. Stop acting like you care what happens behind the scenes. Stop it. Stop this moral high ground that you suddenly have, man. Cut it out. Elliot Tapore and Paddy Pimblett, they were smacking each other backstage, but you're pushing for that fight more than anything.
Yeah.
Talking about a headbutt. Yes, the headbutt.
Because they're big stars and they make money. Arman's not a big star. If Arman was a big star, he could do whatever he wants.
Could have. That headbutt could have cut him open. He could have nearly died and could have went to the hospital and got 17 stitches. Could have, would have, should have, put have. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Fuck, man. I hate him trying to act like he's like, dude, this is a real business, man. You can't be doing wild stuff behind the scenes, dude. You can't be like, but when it was Hamzat and Kevin Holland, you were like, you know what? Fuck it, dude. Let's book that fight instead.
Yeah.
Now that Nate Diaz missed weight, but like, you know.
Well, not Hamzat missed weight, but I see your point. Yeah, when you're a star, you can do whatever you want.
I'm saying, or Hamzat missed weight, so don't try to act like backstage moments of confrontation something you fear so much, or he headbutted him, and you're like you love that as a businessman. Don't act like you don't. You just don't like it when it doesn't fit your agenda, brother. All my life I know.
Dana White is really good at painting a narrative in a specific light to either fit his narrative or to make specific fighters look bad for the sake of protecting his superstars. Dana White is really, really good at this. And we don't even need to get into this. Dana these days has become a shell of his former self. I think the old Dana White would crap all over this new version of Dana White. Right? You need to actually watch MMA Shea, whatever it is. You need to actually watch his content, not in front of a camera, because you won't understand if you interrupt and miss the point. It's not that I'm trying to interrupt. It's just when I'm reacting to a video, I'm not going to sit here and watch the entire video without pausing it once. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to pause it at certain points to make my point. Also, you have to understand, when you're making a YouTube video, you have to make it entertaining. You can't just be like... Because nobody wants to watch that, man. And, I'm not saying Chi's a dumb guy or whatever. I think the way that he was attacking the Weasel in that video was a bit egregious. It was a bit egregious.
This about you, brother. You're a fake guy, Dana. You know, this will have to expose your little bald milk dud ass in this video.
Milk dud! That was what he was saying earlier. The white milk dud head.
Vanilla milk dud, of course.
Fighting one.
Yeah.
Almost
Or vanilla milk dud, whatever.
blew the fight by headbutting him in the face at the weigh-ins.
Oh, you know what? You know what you should have called him there, Kenny? You should have freaking called him Dana White. Wait. Yeah, Dana White Milk Dud. There you go. Perfect nickname.
We'll see. It's not like he hasn't had the opportunity.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if he hadn't had the opportunity. There was a time when Bilal Muhammad had won so many in a row, and Bilal was like, how many fucking fights do I have to win to get a title shot? You know what I mean? It's not like that.
There was...
I just think, but I mean, this
It kind of is like that, though. He got robbed against Gamrot, in my opinion. But even outside of that, he went on a winning streak. Yeah, Armin Sarukian's definitely on a winning streak and definitely deserving of a title shot.
It's funny to me because he just admitted that, like, I just didn't give Bilal a title shot because I didn't want to.
But to be fair, Bilal Muhammad's Bilal Muhammad. Like, he's kind of like the Meg Griffin of the UFC.
It's not like when Bilal was winning multiple fights and we just didn't give him well, it is. Armin Sarukian's number one contender. And you're just not giving him a title shot because you don't want to. So it's the same as, I don't think Bilal was even the number one contender when that was happening. Could have been Kobe. It could have been different people. I don't really remember, but I know he wasn't the number one contender for as long as Armin Sarukian, you know. But he's right. But here it's kind of weird that he just publicly admitted that, yeah, Bilal Muhammad was winning, but we purposely didn't give him a title shot because we just didn't want him to get that opportunity. A little bit weird that you're so open about that, eh? But I guess it's Bilal Muhammad, so everyone watching this video is not going to care because they hate Bilal, and every other person who watches MMA is not going to care because they hate Bilal. But
no, like I said, Bilal Muhammad's like the Meg Griffin of the UFC. People just don't care, or they just straight up hate him. I do think Bilal hate's kind of forced, though.
But I'm going to hear it, and I'm going to actually know it, and I'm going to acknowledge it, but no one else is going to say it because that's the MMA community. Dana's a really weird guy, and now it makes more sense. Like, the fact that he's comfortable now publicly saying he didn't give Bilal an opportunity when he had a long win streak because he just didn't want to. It's the same reason Mavzar's not going to get a shot anytime soon. Same reason Umar's not.
Well, Mavzar also never fights.
Not going to get a shot, and Sugar's going to get it over him, and Sugar's going to get his third title shot in the last 2 years, last fucking 365 days because Sugar could just keep getting title shot after title shot because
You are what you say you are. Like, a superstar, right? Dana White thinks that Sean O'Malley's a massive superstar, but he's really not. Like, not in comparison to guys like Ilya, Islam, Alex Pereira. These guys are bigger stars than Sean O'Malley.
He has that Dana White privilege, you know.
True.
We could talk about this. We could really go down this rabbit hole, but if I say it, I'm going to be the bad guy because I'm already the bad guy in the MMA community because I say things that are true and no one likes them.
Okay, well, let's hold off a little bit on that. You don't say things that are true a lot of the time, Kenny. Come on. Your GOAT list was abysmal.
Yeah, Kenny, you're being contrarian. Like I'm doing right now, I suppose. Like everything I'm saying.
But nobody's going to say that you're being a contrarian based off this Dana White stuff. Everybody agrees with you on this. But I think a lot of times you probably say stuff to garner engagement and a reaction out of people, right? Even me reacting to your video gives you attention, which I don't care. People can go give you attention all you want. It doesn't really matter to me. But like, for me personally, like I think that you just seem to engagement bait people, is how I put it.
It's truthful, but I'm sure there's some people scrolling and hating it. But it is what it is. Pissing me off, eh?
There's a lot of talk with the fans online saying making that fight means that like the rankings don't matter anymore. Did you feel like that was
the divisional rankings don't matter? It's very true.
Yeah, it is true.
Did you feel like that was
No, I
true?
don't think that. Plus Sarukian just fought too.
Yeah.
He had a fight. We made this fight, and it's the beginning of the year. So we'll see how this
But Armin said he was going to be ready to turn around for this fight. He said he'd be ready to go.
year plays out for him.
So you notice how he sidestepped that question. He's good at this. He's good at sidestepping that question.
Yeah, bro's a politician.
He just notice how shout out this report. Yo, you gotta shout out the reporter, eh? Notice how he just brought up like important issues. Like he's saying now, pretty much people are saying the divisional rankings don't matter because they're not gonna get booked against a champion because being number one contender doesn't mean shit. Then it was like, well, listen, Armin Sarukian was number one contender before the Dan Hooker fight. He beat Dan Hooker and he's still number one contender. But I don't know, man. Like it's still early in the year. You never know what could happen in the future. Like he just doesn't acknowledge.
Dana White's main is, you see, or he'll be like, like we'll see what happens. We'll talk about it on Tuesday. We're actually having a meeting about Alex Pereira tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see what happens. This is main.
The divisional rankings don't matter.
His go-to.
He's not going to mention, Mavzar's number one contender. Okay, but who's getting the shot? Let's give it to Lopez, who's number fucking 5. You see what I mean? They're not going to acknowledge this. Like, they're going to look at Justin Gaethje. Oh, he's what? He's like number 7, 6, 7 rank. I'll give him the number one contender fight. Dana's not going to acknowledge it. Shout out this guy again. Chat, keep your mind. I don't know this dude's name, but shout out him because you'll never see him again. So get a good glimpse of his.
Maybe you should watch Championship Rounds. I believe that they have a. Do they have a YouTube channel? Or where did it originally come from? I don't know where it originally came from. Whoever it is that originally did this interview, go find them. Oh, I did not mean to do that.
I like his bald head better, a little bit more handsome, good beard.
True.
He's asking the tough questions, but Dana White's just sidestepping it. Just look at the sidestep again.
Anymore? Did you feel that fight means that like the rankings don't matter anymore? Did you feel like that was
No, I
true?
don't think that. Plus Sarukian just fought too.
Yeah.
He had a fight. We made this fight, and it's the beginning of the year. So we'll see how this year plays out for him.
Didn't didn't address the divisional rankings not mattering at all. It's crazy, isn't it?
All he said was, I don't feel that way. Yeah, no, it's legitimately insane. Dana White's gaslighting is legitimately something else. I think we got everything we need to out of this video. All right, I think we got the point. Next video. I wanted to actually address something. Right? I said earlier I was going to address the Dana White stuff. All right, don't worry. I don't know if you guys saw. One second, I'm going to find this. Oh, here's the whole interview. Whoa. An interview from Complex News. Dana White talks UFC 324. White House fights John Jones. Conor McGregor return. So it's Complex News. Guys, go subscribe. This interviewer absolutely deserves the MMA Reporter of the Year already. And I don't even know if he's an MMA reporter. Let's get it.
We'll see if Conor's going to come back.
Actually, you know what? Hold on one second. I got to redo the intro here. Dana White talks UFC 324. White House fights. And John Jones and Conor McGregor return. Complex News, guys. This thing that we just watched with Kenny Oki, and if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll probably be yesterday's video by the time you're watching this. Yeah, Dana White has this interview here. There's a few things going on, but there's one thing in particular I really want to talk about, but let's get it.
We'll see if Conor's going to come back or not. You know, we've been talking about it for a while. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
This guy here, this interviewer here, he deserves MMA Reporter of the Year already, and I don't even think he's an MMA reporter. But if he is, give him MMA Reporter of the Year. Sorry, Ariel. Going on Constantinos. Happy to have you here. Yeah, let's just turn that off before I get a copyright strike. Matt Welty is his name. Matt Welty. Go follow him on Twitter.
UFC CEO and President, Dana White.
What's up, brother?
It's a big one, right? Big deal.
Hey, thanks for the donation there. Thanks for the donating on there, Constantinos. Remember, you don't need to donate, though. It's not a requirement.
Paramount Plus, $7.7 billion.
No, okay. No, hold on. 1 second. I'm going to friggin' freak out here, guys, okay? I'm going to freak out here. First of all, so you guys know about this whole Paramount Plus deal that's going on right now, right? Yeah, so I'm in Canada. And in Canada, we don't get the Paramount Plus fights, allegedly. I heard it's the same issue over in Australia as well. We're still going to have to pay for pay-per-views. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something right now. I ain't paying for nothing. I ain't paying for nothing. I ain't paying for no pay-per-views. Why did the Americans get to watch it for free? I already got my Paramount Plus subscription. Right? And now you're telling me I'm not going to be able to watch? That's egregious.
Doesn't suck.
No. Yeah. What's the first thing you bought when that check?
I mean, I'm not getting the 7.7 billion. It goes into the company.
I'm sure.
Believe me, I bought enough shit in my day. I'm good. I just got back from a great vacation with my family, out in Fiji, and I had the boat that Paul Allen built before he died.
Yeah.
The boat is so big that I was on it for 10 days.
Is that your dog on the bed? Yes, it is. You guys want to see him? Rico, come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. No, I have the most beautiful dog in the world, okay? Come here, buddy. Come here. He was napping, but come here, buddy. My room's a bit of a mess. I apologize. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come say hi to the camera. Come here. Hi, baby. He's the best. I got the best dog in the world here. I gotta be honest. Best dog in the world. I'm sorry, buddy, to wake you up from your little nappy, but you're on live stream. Say hi to the fans. Huh? Yeah. Let's get into this.
Yeah.
So
wow.
That's what I spend my money on now.
So you have the first pay-per-view of the year coming up, UFC 324. First Paramount.
So they're not pay-per-views anymore, I guess. So what are we going to call them now? The whole Paramount thing's a sham, but what are we going to call them now? Just numbered cards?
Plus, the main event, I feels like a little bit controversial. Patty Pimblett, Justin Gaethje.
Oh, here we go. I want to see what Dan has to say to this.
What's controversial about it?
I think
the fact that people don't think that Patty Pimblett or Justin Gaethje are deserving title shots.
A lot of people feel like Armand.
It should have been Sarukian.
Yeah.
Sarukian's got to work his way back up there, man. Sarukian's had opportunity. He didn't take it.
I know.
He did take it. He had to pull out due to injury, right? He had to pull out due to injury. Then he went on and beat Dan Hooker after the fact. If anyone deserves that interim title shot, it's Armin versus either Patty or Gaethje. I would have been fine with that, right? I would have been fine with that because then Armin probably would have won, and then he would go on to get his title shot against Ilya.
No, obviously he had the fight in L.A. or didn't have the fight in L.A.
I have to be able to count on somebody if somebody's
Yeah.
going to fight for a world championship. Got to be able to count on them. It's like the whole John Jones thing right now, you know.
Yeah, but then you were planning on bringing John Jones back to the White House card, right? You were planning on having him come back to fight Alex Pereira, despite the whole Tom Aspinall situation. So you can't even bring up John Jones in this instance. And also, I understand Armin's a bit rowdy. He can be a bit difficult to deal with. But, like, come on. Armin deserves a title shot. If it was any other fighter doing the exact same things, if Conor McGregor did the exact same stuff, he would still get his title shot. They would just reschedule it.
What does it look like when you say...
The UFC literally canceled the card because John Jones didn't want to fight Chael Sonnen on, like, what, a week and a hal's notice.
He's got to work his way back up. Like, what does that look like?
Well, you know, he just fought this last fight he won.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Almost headbutted him in the face and almost blew the fight by headbutt.
Oh, he almost picked up a gun and unalived the crowd. He almost like, shut up.
Butting him in the face at the weigh-ins. We'll see.
If he didn't...
You don't even have an answer. Your answer is always, we'll see what happens. We have a meeting on Tuesday. We'll see. Like, give us some straight answers, my guy. At least be honest about why you're crapping all over your own company.
have that missed, you know, or weight at L.A., do you think that he would have been the man to...
Well, he would have had the fight.
Yeah, that's true.
He would have fought for the title. We wouldn't even be having this conversation.
That's very true.
It's not like he hasn't had the opportunity.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if he hadn't had the opportunity. There was a time when Bilal Muhammad had won so many in a row.
Yeah.
And Bilal was like, how many fucking fights do I have to win?
Kenny Oki said it best. You basically just admitted that you weren't giving Bilal Muhammad a title shot. Right? You're throwing Bilal Muhammad under the bus as a way to justify your point with Armin that it's not as egregious, so therefore it doesn't matter. But I would argue that it's more egregious because Armin's beaten top competition, such as Charles Oliveira. He probably should have gotten the nod against Mateusz Gamrot, for instance, right? He knocked out Beneil Dariush in the first round. You know, he just beat Dan Hooker, so it's even more egregious than the Bilal thing, because Bilal didn't really beat a whole lot of top competition. He's beating older fighters like Wonderboy and you know, Gilbert Burns, so it's a little bit of a different situation.
To get a title shot, you know what I mean? It's not like that.
Yeah. There was a lot of talk with the fans online saying, you know, making that fight means that, like, the rankings don't matter anymore. Did you feel like that was
No, I
true?
don't think that. You know, plus Sarukian just fought, too.
Yeah.
He had a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Armin said he would be ready to turn around for January. He said he would be ready. So, L excuse.
We made this fight, and it's the beginning of the year, so we'll see how this year plays out for him.
And what do you do at welterweight now? I feel like there's like a million different people that...
I swear, if Dana White's about to say, oh, we do the Kamaru Usman fight. Oh my gosh. I will start a petition to get Dana White out of the UFC, man.
can come up next and
Which
fight.
is a good problem to have.
Yeah. But then it feels like you pick someone and then all these people get left out in the process. So what's that like, picking the right guy?
Yeah, it's about timing, you know.
I swear.
What's going on in their personal life.
I swear, if he says Kamaru Usman, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to get really
where
close
is the
and
fight,
uncomfortable.
when. A lot of different factors go into who gets picked and when. But everybody ends up getting a shot. It's not like you're in the top 5 and you're not going to get a shot.
Yeah. Because I know Islam said he wanted to fight Kamaru
I
next.
swear.
Do you feel like he's the right guy or...
I swear.
I don't know. We got to see how some of this stuff plays out.
He knows that he doesn't want to say yes. He knows that saying yes would be absolutely crazy for him to do, but he wants to say yes because he loves that fight, right? And Elliot Delaziz loves that fight.
Got to see when Toporia's coming back, what's he want to do?
Oh, you want to do the Topuria Islam fight? That's what you're thinking. Oh my gosh.
Obviously, you know, in the perfect world, he fights one of these two that fights for the title right now. And Chimaev, when's he coming back? You know,
what does Chimaev have to do with this? What do you sound like a casual fan. You sound like you don't even know who your own fighters are, man.
Still a lot of things that have to play out before I can decide.
Unless, are you trying to tell me you're thinking about doing Islam versus Hamzat? That fight would not be good.
Who fights who yet?
What's the White House card looking like?
Nothing.
This is what I wanted to go over. There's something in here that I wanted to go over, and you guys are going to be very upset for one fighter.
Yet. So we literally just got all the logistics done. It's going to be 5,000 seats in the South Lawn. Fighters will walk from the Oval Office. We got all that shit dialed in. Now, January 23rd is Zuffa Boxing. January 24th is...
The freaking Zuffa Boxing. This is what's gonna be the downfall of the UFC. Dana's gonna put all of his effort and promotion into Zuffa Boxing to the point where the UFC is gonna really suffer. It's gonna become a real issue.
Is the first UFC, and then after that card, we'll start working on the White House fight.
I know there's like all the talk of Michael Chandler and Conor. Do you see like that as like a realistic thing?
No,
happening?
I mean that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, so that's not nothing you'd entertain for
No.
White House.
No.
And I
Michael Chandler's not getting the shot at McGregor. He literally put his career on hold for 2 years, didn't get to provide money for his family, all because he wanted to have the opportunity to fight Conor. Now you're not going to give it to him? You know, I don't know why that is, too, by the way. The reason why Dana doesn't want to give that shot to Michael Chandler is because he thinks that Michael Chandler actually has a shot to win that fight. I guarantee you that Dana wants Conor to come back and win so he could justify giving him a title shot against someone like Ilya or even potentially an Islam Makhachev or something, even though he won't be deserving. They want to give him a very favorable stylistic matchup, right? They want him to fight someone like a potential Nate Diaz third fight or something like that, someone who Conor could beat so that he could fight Ilya Deporta. I know that that's what Dana White's thinking. The money eyes are just so apparent, bro. He's turning into Mr. Krabs up in here.
saw recently too that Joe Rogan was saying that you should just have Alex fight John Jones at the White House. Is that something you feel like?
At 205?
I mean, yeah, I guess. Or
Yeah, I mean that would be a fight. But can I count on John Jones?
yeah,
Can't have John Jones doing something bad or pulling out of the fucking White House fight.
what was your reaction when you saw Alex and Tracy?
Oh
Go
my
fish.
gosh. I don't care about this stuff. Am I the only one who doesn't care about it? I really don't care. Like, I just want to, like what they announced their relationship or whatever. Did they break up? Hold on a second, chat. Didn't Alex Pereira and Tracy Cortez break up? Yeah, they've gone their separate ways. Hold on. Alex Pereira announces that he and MMA Tracy Cortez have gone separate ways. Alex Cortez running in Thunderstorm after breakup with Tracy Cortez. Thank you for the fans of all my love. I'd like to communicate with you guys through me and Tracy. Share great moments together. We decided it'd be better for both of us to go our separate ways. I wish her nothing but the best in her journey. So this is Alex here running in the rain. Oh my gosh, bro. No, okay, I don't care. I don't care about this stuff. I don't understand. Like, that was like the most middle school relationship I've ever seen in my life.
On Instagram.
Oh, I don't give a shit.
No,
No,
I don't give a
it
shit.
doesn't like you're not even like, oh, I knew this was happening, or I don't care, or like.
No, I don't care. That's like gossip shit. I don't care about that stuff. They're grown men and women. They can do whatever they want.
True.
Definitely. So you don't see any world that like Conor comes back? I know there was like him on the billboards with Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if Conor's going to come back or not. You know, we've been talking about it.
I thought it was confirmed he was fighting on the White House. Is it because of Conor? Is that why they're not doing the fight with Chandler? Or he just doesn't want Chandler to fight Conor?
For a while. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I don't know, though.
Yeah. Jake Paul, got his jaw broken. Anthony Joshua.
Dana White loved watching that more than anything. Jake, you can steroid, or if I can steroid test you for 2 years, you can coke test me for 10. Jake, fight Anderson Silva. Like if you know, you know.
You had said that you thought it was a bad fight for him. Do you still feel like that he shouldn't have even taken that fight, or?
Yeah. It's crazy that fight was even allowed to happen.
That is crazy. Yeah. Like, that is actually crazy. A top-ranked heavyweight boxer against, I believe Jake Paul was actually ranked in the cruiserweight division. I think he was ranked like 14th or something, which is also legitimately crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, it is.
What do you think is like the future for him as far as like the boxing goes?
Jake Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. As long as people keep wanting to pay and watch him fight, I guess he can keep doing it. It's just not what I do. You know what I mean? It's just to even comment on it. I think everybody that was involved in that thing should be embarrassed. Number one, and number two, it's just not what I'm in.
It's not a good look for the sport of boxing. I will say that, right? When you have someone like Anthony Joshua, who's built like an absolute bodybuilding machine, and yet you see someone like Jake Paul, the YouTuber, make it into the 6th round against someone like Anthony Joshua, it's just not a good look for boxing. This doesn't change how I feel about the sport, but it's not a good look to people who are looking to get into this or are looking to watch high-level boxing, and they see a former champion in Anthony Joshua take on a YouTuber in Jake Paul, and he didn't struggle at all, but the fact it took him 6 rounds to get Jake out of there, it just doesn't make boxing look good.
Not my thing.
Yeah, you got
Be honest, when's the last time you gooned? I have a girlfriend, man. I can't be doing stuff like that.
Volk Lopez 2. Some people, I guess, maybe were questioning why there was a rematch when the first fight felt a little decisive on Volk's behalf.
Yeah. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Kenny, we already watched your video. We saw the clip when we watched your video. Have a field day with this, my guy. Oh my gosh. This, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Am I being gaslit?
What's the process going into, this needs to be a rematch, or this shouldn't be, or...
I don't know if the process was there needs to be a rematch. It was just a fight that made sense. We get in that...
Well, it's not. And I said this previously on the stream, but I said, if you're gonna make this rematch, and you're gonna make this kind of fight that a lot of people don't care to see, at least have the decency to try to say, well, you know what? I think a lot has changed since the first fight. Yes, while Alexander Volkanovski won very dominantly over Diego Lopez in the first fight, we believe a rematch is best to actually happen right now because the other contenders are not ready to fight. They didn't want to step up for this specific date, which this is a date that Volkanovski asked for. Diego Lopez said yes, he was going to be ready. Laurent Murphy said no. Movsar Evloev said no. So now we have this rematch to be made because there's no one else to fight. And then after this fight, it's going to be determinant of how the future of the featherweight division plays out. And if Volkanovski wins, then we can have him fight someone like Laurent Murphy or Movsar Evloev. And if Diego Lopez wins, depending on how that fight plays out and seeing if either guy gets hurt, then we can have a potential rubber match in our hands, which could potentially make the featherweight division more exciting. That's what you should be saying to the fans, not, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Piss off with you. Take your jacket off and F off. W. Gordon Ramsay reference.
We start putting shit together and, should be a good fight.
And, Merab fought like a million times last year, ends up losing the belt at the end. Do you think that it's you're going to give him some time off, or do you want him to get right back in the ring?
That's up to him. You know what I mean? It's up to him. He probably should take a little time off and relax and
take a month or two off, let your body rest, let your body recover, and then come back. Then we'll have the trilogy of Peter Yan, and we'll finally figure out who is the better fighter between the two. Once and for all. No injuries, no overactivity, no excuses. We'll know once and for all.
The guy's a fucking animal. Animal.
Yeah.
True.
Is he one of the most reliable fighters?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
But he doesn't suck off Merab the way he does John Jones.
I could call him from this interview right now and tell him I want him to fight, on the second Paramount fight, and he'd do it.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's why I appreciate you taking your time, Dana.
But like Kenny Oki said, this guy's never getting an interview again. He's not, bro. He's never getting another interview with Dana White again. Absolutely not. Okay. Guys. Boring questions. Of course, Marv should take some time off. Well, this interview actually asked some decent questions, which is something a lot of people really don't want to do with someone like Dana White. But guys, we are going to call that a stream there. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This stream was supposed to happen yesterday, but I had some stuff going on, so I had to get pushed back. But we are going to try to do probably 2 to 3 streams a week. It kind of just depends on my schedule. I can't really promise specific days. Wednesdays and Sundays are the best days for me to stream. And if there's other days like Thursdays, potentially Fridays, not tomorrow Friday, but other Fridays or whatever, potentially Monday earlier in the day, maybe, if I have time. I don't want to promise anything, but I'm going to try to stream at least twice a week going forward.